We're live.
We're live. Michael Bernoff. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, buddy.
Dude.
This is it like old school?
I'm old school because,
we're gonna shake hands.
you and I are still human beings and we like to operate that way.
100%.
Dude, how's it going?
Doing great, man. I'm excited. We are on YouTube and Facebook.
And Facebook or something. I
double Facebook, one YouTube.
Something like that. Yes, I actually think that's what it is. Double Facebook and
Very
YouTube,
cool.
Which is good. It's a first for me personally.
Agreed. I've never pulled two Facebooks and one YouTube. I've just done YouTube and Facebook.
I feel like on the cutting edge right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It took an extra few minutes, but we got it set up. We got people popping on. So
awesome.
You want to comment down below, and
if you want to comment, you can comment.
Yeah,
so some of you know Michael already because we've done this a few times. We've done a couple podcasts together as well. This is the first time today.
Yeah.
And so, dude, it's just been a while since we caught up. I think we were in the studio last when we did a podcast, and then prior to that, we had done a webinar or two as well for the awesome Next Level Agents group, as well as the Kevin and Fred community within our EXP world. And I just thought, dude, it's been a while. Let's catch up. So first of all, what the heck's going on? How are you?
I'm good. It's been interesting. I'll tell you, being in the personal development space, Henry doesn't know me. We're in the personal development space. I teach influence communication, and if that excites you, you can give us a yes. That excites me, in Facebook or YouTube or whatever. We love it.
I have a question. I'm gonna stop you right there. Why do you teach influence?
That's a good question. Okay, so biggest reason I teach influence is nobody ever taught me any of this. So my whole life, this is interesting because I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. They always ask me like, how did you start doing what you do? It's the most, is it annoying as an agent? Why did you become, okay. So no one ever asks that. This question excites me. So my whole life, I've seen people get what they want. I've seen people do amazing things.
Okay.
And I could never figure out how they did it. And I will tell you when everything changed for me. And this is interesting because I went into business in college. I was in direct sales, network marketing at a young age. And
is it the fake IDs?
No, that's not the fake IDs.
Okay.
That was my first.
That was a different business.
That was the first business that did not turn out well. Don't sell fake IDs, and well, maybe you should. I don't know. But nowadays, you can
maybe passports.
Back then, it was a different thing. So I was in college, and I failed out at ASU after 2 semesters. Not failed out, but I was asked please don't come back unless you get your shit straight. Like that, it was called academic probation, is a fancy word for
that's fancy word for you. You need to learn how to be in school,
and you're not good at it. You keep on going to the pool instead of. I was an entrepreneur. I had no interest in structure, so I went to Mesa Community College for a semester or two. Got a job, worked at Alamo Rent-A-Car. I valeted. These are the things I did in the meantime, and found a direct sales business. So while I was at MCC, this is nuts, in a junior college, they let me take business classes. At ASU, I wasn't good enough to get into business school ever, period. Okay, I do better than almost anybody in my graduating class now. Now, here is what's nuts. The teacher gave us a list of books of things we could read. Now, I'm a 19-year-old young boy, and I'm thinking to myself, what is it that I want to read? And there was a list of books, and one of them was How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't matter to people today, but this is what got me. I didn't realize influence is something you could learn. I thought you either had it or you didn't, because my parents taught me work hard, be a good person. So I literally had no idea that a human being could choose to become more influential. And I don't think I even read the book. I literally read the first couple of paragraphs, and I'm like, I got it.
Isn't that the best lesson though? Like when you don't. I was telling someone this today about a class I went to, and there was something written on the board.
Yep.
And it's a 2-day class. Yep. The thing written on the board I read when I walked in the room for the first time, I had got my money's worth right then and there.
Yep.
And I could have left.
Yep.
I mean, I stayed because it was a 2-day class. I paid for it.
Yep.
But isn't that cool? Like you can read a book cover sometimes, or a title,
everything,
or a couple pages, and it's like you already know what to do.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. And I'm actually, it's funny. I'm teaching something next couple days online. I'm doing a telecourse on the hidden benefits of events. And it's interesting because a lot of people, they come in for the training, I'm going to go to the EXP training, or I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to learn how to sell. And they don't think the extra benefit of what it is they're going to get out of it. And if you know to look for those other 10 things too, the people, the hidden meanings, all that stuff, it's like being at Disney and looking for the hidden Mickeys.
It's been said like this, basically the golden nugget's not spoon fed, or more is caught than taught.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, you're going because you want to learn this skill. If I came to you, it'd be because you're going to teach me how to sell.
Yep.
You're going to teach me how to influence myself. But there's so much more going around an event if you're open to it and paying attention.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are. So it's like they just want to get the material. Like even people watching this right now, like, where are the 5 things I can get in between? How do I sneak in 5 winning things? Instead of watching like Joe Rogan, we were just joking about him earlier,
Yeah.
going, wait a second. How many breaths does he take in between his speaking to be that confident and that calm?
Yeah.
Like, what if we actually modeled Rogan's breathing habits? Because he's calm as fuck. I mean, that dude is so calm, and he's like, oh, okay, we're going to talk about like nuclear destruction today. And he's super calm and super relaxed, where you're watching going, okay, when am I going to get the nugget? Versus, dude, here's the nugget.
That actually was the nugget. Yeah.
It was the nugget. So anyway, that was a side thought. Does that answer your question? Did we actually get
I think so. So that was why, because you realize that influence could be something anybody could gain.
Well, I didn't realize. So my whole life I thought it. So I'd see the guy dating the girl that I'd want to date. I'd see the person having the thing, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't realize that came down to influence. But it was the day I was at a seminar, and the guy in front of the room, he made a statement. He goes, how many of you are salespeople? I raised my hand. How many of you are business owners? I'm like, raise your hand. I'm like thinking, oh, I'm with my people. This is great. And he goes, you know what I think of all of you guys? You know what I think of all you salespeople? And I'm thinking, what, highest paid profession in the world, best, making money, making things happen. And he goes, you know what I think all of you are? Every one of you is a sucker. And I'm like, sucker? What do you mean sucker? He goes, why would you want to sell when you could learn how to become a person of influence? And I thought about that concept is very, very few people are willing to become a person of influence. So these are 2 different things. You can go about your day. In your real estate career, do you want to be a man or woman, a person of influence, or are you looking to be a salesperson? Same amount of time, same amount of effort, different outcome.
So nuance for me, the difference. Yep. What's the difference there between, I'll even say, a great salesperson and a person of influence?
I'm just going to tell you, if Oprah recommends my book, 3 million people buy my book. If a salesperson sells my book, they'll sell a couple 100,000 copies. A person of influence has structured their life in a way that is influential. So like, I was teaching social media stuff earlier today. I was telling you, we've got the setup and everything for it. And I said, a lot of people take advice on how to post, what to do, what kind of frame, where to stand, what to do. All cute, right? No one's asking, why am I actually listening to that person? What are they doing that I'm actually listening to? It's like when I used to go to Tony back in the day, I used to watch Tony go like, why are 15,000 people here? What is he doing that 15,000 people? Not what did he say? Not what is the event about? Who is he being and what is he doing that's actually making all of this work? And that's a different question, a different result, and a very different life.
So your assumption, if you will, based on your business, is that anybody can start to ask those questions and become a person of influence.
I mean, if they want to. I mean, it just depends what your outcome is. I mean, here's the thing. You got to sell. We all have to sell. So you can't just walk around and go, look at me, I'm an influencer. Look at me. Like,
wait, I have an Instagram account.
All the girls on Instagram. Look, I take my clothes off. I'm on Instagram. I'm famous, right?
That's why I do all the booty shots. I do all those booty shots. Yeah.
You got the, Kevin's got his butt out. And
everything. It's awkward how much I get.
But the point is, it's like, am I going about this as a person of influence, or am I doing want to sell for the rest of my life? Influential people get recommended. Influential people come across different. It's a whole different game.
And let me ask you this.
This is a unique conversation.
So you can use influence for sale, for can we say for sales?
Anything. Okay. Sales is not a bad word.
I don't think it's a bad word either.
I like to sell. I think sales is fantastic. It comes from the Norse word sale, which means to serve. Most people are trying to sell something and they think it ends there. It's how do you serve people?
Okay. I love that.
You're like, I got to remember that for later.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that.
I do. I'm like, I just made a little note, right? I'm going to double click that later.
Serve. I heard it in the book.
So, but influence though, because I mean, dude, I've been to your events.
Yep.
I've attended your courses. Yep. And
shit's magic.
You don't really, like, we're not talking about selling in there. No. If anything, what I always walk away from is how I can really influence myself into the next level or into that next thing that I'm going after.
Yes.
So tell me, is that by design or is that just my personal experience?
No, that's what we want to get people to realize. So like influencing the person is not about influencing them to do something. It's about getting them in a point where they can make a decision for themselves. So by default at the event, you learn how to get other people to make decisions and take action, but you happen to be one of those people. Do you understand the concept?
Yes.
So while I'm busy talking about, let's say Fred, hey, I'm working with Fred and we're going to market to Fred, your partner Fred, blah, blah, blah. Your unconscious mind is hearing it as well. So you become more of a decision maker. You become more of an action taker at the same time. So our job as salespeople and influencers is to let people know it's okay to make a decision. And if you just let people know, so when someone walks in a store and goes, hey, I'm just looking, you could say, okay, great, let me know when you need me. Versus there are things you can do and say that would actually make it okay to break that pattern. Because the pattern is, I'm going to go pretend I'm looking. I'm going to look around. I'm really insecure. I don't want to pick the wrong thing. What if it looks bad? What if I can't afford it? This is their dialogue. Our job is to get them out of that dialogue.
So we want to break their pattern of, hey, I'm just looking.
You ever, real estate agents? I know we some sell houses, some recruit, that kind of stuff. A human being has, I'm going to find the perfect property. Dude, do you know that that's built in the brain? Like that's
entrenched.
That's like, I'm going to go get all straight A's. And I mean, some people can. I never could do that. But I'm going to find the perfect house. What does it look like? I don't know. I'll find it when I see it. Oh, fuck. I mean, you got that going on. I mean, like that's what we're up against. I mean, that's literally, as an agent, that's what we're dealing with.
So, okay, let me go back.
Fancy with my teeth.
It's pinky out and everything. I got to tell you, this is like a new Michael. Like, I mean, have you always been a tea drinker?
This stuff is great for my throat. I've been speaking for days.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. You have had a lot going on the last couple of weeks. Okay, so let me go back to influence and influencing myself. I have a question for you because you said,
and I'll take any questions you got.
Okay, so you gave the example of like, hey, you're using the example of here's how you sell to Fred. Okay, and my unconscious mind is hearing it.
Yep.
Am I more receptive to that and hearing it because I think it's about, say, Fred or my customer?
You are way more interested. You are way more guard down hearing about someone else. So I call that using quotes. So I'm better off saying, the other day I met a person, and as long as it's a true story, like I have a guy that helped me with my roof. And buying a roof is not a fun thing. I don't know if you ever bought one before, but it's expensive. I'm $42,000 into a brand new roof. It's gorgeous, but I took my house from the Santa Barbara to the flat tile.
Okay, yeah.
Like I made it, like I did like a custom roof, right? And had an insurance claim. The guy helped me in every which way. Why I'm bringing up this guy and why I'm telling you this is he made the process easy and simple. He talked me through it. And I knew what I was getting into in advance. So as an agent, as a real estate agent, one of the things I want to do is I model after what I do at Charles. I want to let you know everything in advance so you're comfortable. So while I was busy telling you the story about Charles, I was really framing me because I'm going to do the same thing. So if I were to walk into a setting, whether it was recruiting or selling or whatever it is we were doing, I would want a Charles story about somebody else that helps somebody be comfortable and walk them through a very difficult transaction. It's expensive. It's nothing you enjoy doing. So as an agent, I'd want to tell a story how I bought something. And I'd want to tell a story how I got through a process and somebody helped me through it. Because that's you now and me.
Okay. So first of all, that's really good.
That's wicked crazy if you're Canadian. You say wicked, I think.
You can say that if you're Canadian or from Boston.
Boston,
right?
yeah, wicked, yeah.
Boston can say wicked.
Rat's ass too.
Really?
They say rat's ass, yeah.
I did not know that one. Apparently I need to watch more Boston movies.
The Town.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. So this is what you do. Like literally, you spend your whole time.
My whole life.
Your whole life. You have all these different courses that you teach that go, I'll call them long weekends, if you will. And it's effectively some version of influence in for different reasons, right?
Everything is designed to increase. I got a big sign outside the door that says it's time to accept the power of your influence. And most people have not accepted that they have power in what it is they do, and they actually have influence inside of them. They're using a piece of it. So it's not about learning a script or a sales technique. It's learning how to live your life as an influential person. Most people are dominated. Look, you've lost a bunch of weight. You've taken care of yourself in a great way. Am I correct? How much you done now?
80 pounds.
80 pounds. So food had influence over you. You have influence over food now. You flip the coin. Same food's being made in this world, but you don't eat it the same way, correct? You don't even think about it the same way, do you?
No.
And you exercise differently, and you don't. The gym doesn't have influence over you. You have influence over the gym. So what most people don't recognize is we've got this power, this influence inside of us, but most of us are not using it.
So you said something interesting that I don't think I've heard you like. We've got to accept our influence.
Yes.
We've got to accept the fact that we have influence. So you help people do that.
Yes, that's all we do. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. So at the end of the day, it doesn't sound as sexy as like I could teach you a sales script and you make $15,000 at the end of the week. I'm going to get you to become a person that would make 15 grand at the end of the week, whatever it is, or I'm going to get you to become a person. So everyone's dealing with, and I've been doing this for 20 years. I mean, this is like thousands of success stories from the books, from the audios, from the trainings, from the videos, from everything. And everybody comes back and going, I came back different. And they come back different because you finally get an opportunity to see and experience the higher level of yourself for 2.5 days. And then your brain goes, wait a second, if I did it for 2.5 days, I could do it for 2.5 weeks. If we do it in 2.5 weeks, I could do it for 2.5 months. So you experience a very high emotional state of your best version of yourself, not a high version of yourself. Again, not a high. And then when you play that bigger version and you're playing with higher level people, you bring that back into your life.
So if I'm hearing it, let me give you a couple examples. All right. So let's say, actually, I am a real estate agent. So I'm a real estate agent, and I decide I've got to have a skill. I want to learn how to recruit other real estate agents, right? I need to, you're saying you can teach me to influence myself into that?
Yes. So bottom line is, the way you communicate right now is the results that you get in your life. So for instance, the way you explain, communicate, talk to yourself, talk to them, gets you what you have. So you can push harder, work harder, and go, oh, I'm gonna talk to 10 more people a day, and
that works, right?
And all these freaking nonsense things that everybody says. What will happen when you do that is you will be burned out and you will have worked hard, and you could eventually get to maybe a 10% greater level. If you attempt to change the way that you actually say what you say to yourself and others, and I do not mean self-talk, I mean how you communicate about what you do, precision language that you use, it's very, very different. So what happens as an agent, if you want to recruit people, you would say to somebody, well, I think you should take a look at our team, is one thing you could say. You also have the ability to look over to somebody and say, listen, we've got to talk. It's absolutely necessary. And what our company is doing right now, your company should be doing. And I'm telling you, whether you work with us or not, I've got to share this with you. I want to give you this gift. It's a different talk. You took all the pressure off the person thinking you're trying to recruit them, even though you are, or just get straightforward. What we are doing, you guys absolutely should be doing. And I would love to sit down with you for 10 minutes, show you what we're doing, and you can adopt it, steal it, have it. But I got to show you what we're doing.
So if I have the story of I'm not a recruiter, I can accept my own influence effectively and become that.
You're going to do recruiting. But if you're an influential person, they'll just listen to you.
You'll be influence. There you go.
This is the part people don't recognize.
Same thing like, hey, I want to become okay. So I know a lot of great real estate agents. They are great at practicing real estate.
Yep.
And then they want to grow their sales team, right?
Yep.
So which means hiring talent and people to help, hiring other agents, etc. And so they could also influence themselves into doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could actually take that, basically the same skill set to do that.
Yep.
I could take it to be a better husband, dad,
anything,
better, whatever,
anything,
more different.
Here's the deal. Do you have the ability to influence yourself? And how do you know? Here's the very simple test. Do you have the life you want? And most people are going to say 100% no. If they say yes, that's great. Conversation's over. There's nothing else we need to do. But if somebody says, and I'll look at you and I'll say this to you, is if you say to yourself, do you have the life that you want, or is what you're doing something very different? What most people don't realize is they're doing something very, very different than the life that they want. So how do you the world is not going to change. You're either going to work really hard, or you're going to become the person you need to become. The question is it going to be hard work, or are you going to influence yourself to do what needs to get done? You have to influence stuff. You can say, oh man, I worked really hard. Or you can learn, like I remember hearing recently, like influence is like when you come to my events and I talk about a wizard. A wizard could do more in their pinky than a warrior can do in their lifetime. And that is a crazy concept. Wait to think about that for a second. A wizard can say something and you listen to me and you buy. Like I'll help people with their infomercials and stuff, and I'll change 3 words in something and $200,000 more come in for a company. A warrior is going to come and start knocking on doors and how do I talk to people and how do I get my phone room going? Or I'm going to go switch these 3 words. And by switching these 3 words has the ability to change the entire conversation. As the entire conversation changes, the result changes. Because it's not what you say. It's how what you said was heard. So I'm not worried about saying it correctly. I'm worried about the response that I get. That's the big thing.
It's how what you said is heard.
Yeah, that's all that matters. And no one's doing that. Everyone's like, oh, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to promote it. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to get invited. No. How did they hear it?
That's so profound. So, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna think family dynamic for a minute.
Yeah, let's talk about anything.
I'm sure it's really common we hear like, I've told so-and-so over and over again, but it's because you told them over and over again in the exact same way. And they heard what they heard over and over
again. And they have past experience knowing exactly what happens afterwards.
Which was clearly not what they needed to hear.
Yep. You yell at your kid. Your kid already knows that 3 days later, mommy and daddy are going to be okay with them, or 3 hours later. So they've already planned that in. So it doesn't really matter. You're just fucking talking. It's a waste. So if you want a different result, we have to do a different thing.
So we've got to focus on what they hear, not how and what they hear and how they hear it.
I mean, most people say to their kid, like they say, like, it's time to do your homework. You basically said it's time to put pins and needles in your eyes. And I mean, I want you to understand what they hear. It's torture. Yeah. Your kid would already be doing their homework if they were a person that didn't need to be reminded. So you just annoyed them. So better thing is, do you want to get them on your team? Or, and this is where just very simple double bind comes in, is like, hey, just want to give you the option. Do you want to do your homework before or after your shower? You could pick. And what's amazing is the homework's still going to get done, but they think they're in control. So what they heard is, wait a second, they're giving me
a choice,
not they're an asshole. Because kids think you're an asshole because they're annoying. You're basically, when you say to them, time to do your homework, you basically said, time to stick pins in my eyes. Like, that's what they're hearing. And you're like, but I'm going to be tough and I'm going to be hard on them and get them to want to do it. You're better off getting them on a team, not your buddy, but on a team with you. And it's going to make a difference. I just want to throw that out there to anybody. And I challenge any of you to use that one. You'd be amazed. Do you want to do your homework before or after the shower? You pick.
That's huge.
They might take a 30-minute shower and still try to avoid the homework, but I'll let you make the choice.
But they have choice now.
Well, wouldn't you rather your kid learn how to deal with choices?
100%.
But parents, we like to take our kids' choices away.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that we become dictators of our children and we ruin our relationships. Like, I'm thinking one of my favorite things Jordan Peterson said, is that if you allow your children to be unlikable, it's why you don't like your kids. Because what happens is, if your kid is a jerk and they add meltdowns and everything in public and all that stuff, if you allow that, they're going to do it later in life and they're going to be unlikable. And the worst thing you can do is have an unlikable human. Nobody wants to be around anybody they don't like. So if you allow your kids to be unlikable, then you're ruining your child's future, their life, and you're not going to like them down the road anyway. So you need to break the habits that are unlikable.
So I feel like what I'm hearing then is I can learn influence for not only myself, but for like my relationships,
kids, your children,
yeah,
everything. I mean, this is the part when I say the word influence, typically the big thing pops out and people say, oh, it's selling, it's marketing, it's all those kind of things. That's
totally.
And they totally miss that influence matters most about the people in your life. Like, even influence over food. Like, when I talk about nutrition, entertainment, and addiction versus food, most people classify McDonald's in the same box as broccoli. It's all food. But the second you break it up and call them two different things, poison, because McDonald's is poison. If you want to stop eating it, make it poison. If you ask my little Maya, if she comes in here right now, you say, hey, Maya, do you want McDonald's? A lot of kids are going to say, I'd love a Happy Meal. My daughter's going to say it's plastic and poison and we shouldn't eat it. It's processed. She's just going to say that. It's not because I'm a great parent. That is how it's been conditioned.
So effectively, when you do that, you're influencing. I mean, that's huge.
So think of this. Have you ever, as a parent, talked to the parents and go, God, these damn phones. So instead of being like, these damn phones, this damn Instagram, this damn Snapchat, we are better off saying, wait a second, those companies are smart.
Right.
What are they doing that we're not doing that they own our kids? So instead, we should be studying what Apple does. We should be studying what these do. So they hire people like me as addiction experts to figure out how to keep people addicted to playing Candy Crush or whatever the newest game is. Angry Birds back in the day. They hire people to do this. So what is Instagram offering your child that they're getting from it that they're not getting from you? They're getting spontaneity, they're getting randomness, they're getting this, and your household is boring. So I know that we can't compete with Instagram completely, but we could learn to be a little bit more spontaneous and a little bit more fun. And I guarantee they'd maybe step away from that.
It
makes sense. Like, we should be studying what's working. And I'm telling you, they have learned how to get people's attention, which is a form of influence.
It's funny you say that. We should be studying what's working, because you and I were talking earlier when we were just hanging out. It's like we're talking about social media.
That was the original podcast.
Yeah. And guys, I mean, instead of going, hey, I'm mad at XYZ, like why is that occurring? Why is that happening? What can I learn from that?
Yes. Instead of being bothered, we can be bothered.
Instead of being bothered, we could be informed.
We can be informed, or we can learn. Instead of being bothered, we can go, you know what, whatever they're doing, that works. I want to adopt that in my life.
How does somebody start to do that? Because, dude, there's
so much
fucking like distraction. There's so much noise out there. How does somebody literally in the middle of their work day or just going about life, actually stop and consciously think about
Well,
that?
first thing was to stop fighting, and that's the big thing. We spend a lot of time fighting different things, especially like lately. I'm just not going to get into the whole idea of this. One of my smartest marketing influence friends I know, he signs up for both political parties' newsletters because they're great marketing. Some of the best marketing in the world.
That's
Do you understand?
brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
He gets them in the mail. He sorts them out, crosses off who said what. Does that make sense? And he's like, "This is great marketing feed," and he usually makes millions, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. This guy makes by literally doing that. So number one is we need to stop thinking we can't figure it out and realize that someone is influencing in a different way than we are. And if we did, we could do that as well. Like, what are they doing that's working, and how do we adopt that same thing? That's it. Like, oh, my kid's on video games all the time. Okay, so what is it about the video games your kid's liking? They're in control. They can tone out the world. They feel like they feel powerful. Okay, got it. So your kid's after being powerful. They're after being a big imagination.
Yeah.
They're after being part of something. So, okay, got it. So we need to figure out how to get your kid those things. The problem is you go, take a football. Let's go outside and play. No. A football is nothing
Like that.
like that. What are they after? They're after community. They're after feeling powerful, feeling important. You're better off telling your kid, let's take him to Comic-Con. Does that make sense? Because he'll probably get some of the same needs met that he's getting on the game from that. Got it?
Yeah.
Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's huge.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to business for a minute.
Okay. We were going off into Comic-Con.
How do I, yeah. I mean, we almost ended up there for a second. Do they have Comic-Con anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not real sure. We won't talk about that. All right, so let me bring this back to business. How do I start to use this more effectively in my real estate business?
Give me an example of a part of real estate, because real estate, when you say things like that, we need to clarify. And
Dude,
we need to qualify.
I got
which part of the business? Because there's selling, buying, recruiting. There's listing. There's saving a sale. There's dealing with the attorneys and the mortgage people, and all that. Title
so you're saying all those different things you like
individual.
But my question is, are you telling me I can take this skill set and use it for all of those things?
Any of them, but let's pick which one we're talking about.
Let's just talk about finding more people who want to sell.
Okay, so finding more people that want to sell,
or just like building a pipeline. Yeah.
Okay, so finding people that want to sell. Are they currently selling? That's a good question. So a person that's not sold doesn't know they can sell. They're either overly enthusiastic that they can, right? Like, oh man, I'm going to be great at this, because they thought selling at Macy's was the same thing as selling a house. You've dealt with that before.
Yeah.
Retail sales is not the same. Or they have no ability to sell in their brain because they're a school teacher. And some of those are the greatest. A.L. Williams found that school teachers and gym teachers are the greatest salespeople and the greatest recruiters, especially with a company like EXP.
Yeah.
Those are the best. So first question is, do they have a neural pathway that says they can do it?
How do you know?
Well, you got to ask them. I mean, point blank, these are questions. Have you ever promoted or marketed something well in your life? Like, I would be looking for people that have promoted and marketed and sold things in their life. Like, I'd like people that are predisposed to doing it. A lot of times you could find people, and like when you're looking at them, I always check people, their name versus their Yelp and stuff. If they bitch and complain on Yelp, I would never hire them. Okay. Number two is some people really know how to leave a great review. And if they know how to leave a really great review, they know how to sell and promote.
They're good with words.
They're good with words, which means they can be good at sales. So if I was recruiting people, I would start narrowing down. Who is great with words? Who is great at communicating? Who is great with people? Who has done that at some point in their life? Who has done that type of thing?
First of all, I just had an idea. So like anytime anybody who's hiring an agent, who's interviewing agents, stop checking their Facebook and start checking their Yelp for their reviews.
If they leave asshole reviews on Yelp, do not hire them. You know they're going to be a pain in the ass. They're going to be hard down the road. But if they don't leave Yelp reviews, you'd ask them what their favorite restaurant is. And they're going to say, oh, I love Dimitri's. I don't even know if it's a restaurant or not. Make it up. And I go, great. Have you left a review for Dimitri's? And they're going to say, no, I haven't done that. Well, do you think he'd care? And what's stopping you from taking a minute and telling him he did a great job? Never thought about that. I go ahead and do it right now. First off, will they take instructions? And two, can they come up with what to say? What's your favorite restaurant, Tom?
Favorite?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
going to say Mastro's.
You love Mastro's, right? You've been there, you enjoyed it?
I like it.
Okay, so if I said you got to go on your Yelp, don't do it right now.
Okay.
What would you say in a review to them?
I would say, first of all, it's the best place for a steak not at home.
Okay.
They make the best steak.
Okay.
It's cooked perfect every time.
Now I want you to make me want to go there like a person's looking at that review. So I want you to think about this. People looking at the review and they've never been there before and they're considering going.
The thing about Mastro's is it's not just the perfect steak. It is also a perfect steak, but it's the experience that goes along with it. They hire top of the line waiters, and you know that when you have a great waiter, no matter what the food is being served, it goes up another 20%, 50% in experience. And they deliver that every single time. And that damn plate, it makes so much noise when the food comes out. It's amazing. Perfect. You know that it's special.
That's why you make a lot of money and you do very well and you're successful, what you just did. That test alone is going to let you know whether somebody can do that. So do you understand that? You're not asking
start calling that
real estate.
So the food review.
The food review, it could be food review, it could be amusement park, it could be anything. What do you like going to? Disney. And then I'm going to say, give me the review. They're going to talk normal. Then I want to go, can you step it up? So first is you let them go normal. And I'm telling you, I've done this for years. I've been in direct sales for a long time.
God, I don't think I've ever heard you say this.
I haven't said this to you before. I always hide something, at least one thing I hide.
Every single time.
Every time I hide something. So what happens is I would say, I used to do this like, tell me what hotel you love going to. They'd say, okay, tell me. And so now what I want you to do is I want you to make me want to go to it. And I'm looking at the review page and I haven't ever been there before. And I would say, so what I would lead into, so what I love about Mastro's is a lot of times my wife and I haven't been out to dinner in a long time. It's been a couple of weeks, we have kids. And when we go to Mastro's, they handle everything so we have time to talk. And they make decisions for us. They show us what it is we want. They make recommendations. But you feel powerful when you go there, and especially as a guy. Does that make sense? Yeah. Walking in that door, holding your wife's hand, and walking and knowing you're going to have a meal. And when you see those the four little, like, what do you call them? The dollar signs, you know it's going to be a lot, but you feel proud when you sign that bill. And your tip is as much as most restaurants cost for the food. But when you leave, you feel accomplished and you feel like all your hard work paid off. And that's why we work so hard. It is the ultimate restaurant to attend for a small business owner that deserves a reward.
Damn.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
I just came up with that off the top of my head. But that would make me want to go. But that just tested my sales skills. It's not sell me a pen. It's, can you step it up a notch? I want to hear what you normally would say. And what would you say in sales mode? So this is how I work with people. Because remember, we're not looking to recruit people necessarily if they're never done sales before. We want to know, can they sell first? They can't do this shit. Let someone else work with them. I don't have the patience.
Let them get trained.
Yep. Make sense?
Dude, that was good.
That was good. Yeah, we'll cut that out. Chip, we'll cut that part out, and that's
we're not
forget about everybody else here.
We're not using that in the recording.
Yeah, that's
I'm saving
awesome.
that one.
That's your goal. That I want you to take that to your company.
Okay, so all right, so that's huge. So what I want to talk about now is like just using that in more places in my life.
Yep.
How do I take, okay, let's say that I know how to sell.
Yep.
How do I use that to make myself better everywhere?
Okay, so again, when someone says everywhere,
okay,
the first thing you want to do is, this is clarification. So when someone says I'm looking for the perfect house, you need to look them in the eyes, goes, doesn't exist. So let's find a house 90% of what you want. So when you say everywhere, I'm going to ask you to pick a destination or pick a place.
Okay.
So we have to cut people out of everywhere because everywhere leads to failure.
Good damn. That's a good point. Okay.
So let's take everywhere. Your wife, your kids, your business, your life, your relationship with your business partner, your team. Let's go somewhere, your food, your diet, your workout.
My team. Okay, so I want to take that.
You got a great team. Yes.
So I've got a team of agents. They're awesome. I love them, and I want to develop that and develop them better.
Okay,
I want to do better at that. I want to be a better leader for them.
Okay, very good. So what's your definition of a leader?
You know,
this is influence right here. This is understanding what your language means. What is your definition of a leader?
I don't know that I have one currently. I've changed it. Up with one. All right, I'll come up with one now. I believe that my definition of a leader is someone who shows others that there's a path to where they want to go.
Okay, very good. So you help people get what they want.
Yeah, you said that a lot easier.
But it's very simple. You help people get what they want. Mm-hmm. So here's the question. Do you know what all 8 people on your team or 10 people, do you know what they want?
No.
Okay. So just a hint, if you want to be more influential, if you knew what they wanted, you could help them get it. So what I would think I would do is I would want to understand what these people want. And I'd want to sit down with them and I'd want to take 10, 15 minutes because we have ADD, we don't have a lot of time.
Right.
And you'd say, listen, I'm going to tell you what I want, show you what I got. I want to know what you want. And let's find out how to get you what you want. My job now becomes, as long as you're working here, how to get you what it is you want. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I know the first thing we hear when as an entrepreneur is like, oh, I want to travel. And you're like, God, you're going to be out of the office. First thing you hear. But that's what they want.
Right.
We have to help them get what they want, because if you help a human get what they want, they don't leave. And if they do leave, they leave better and they live great.
Yep.
Got it?
Yeah.
So that would be step one. And people go, Michael, that's just relationship building. But relationship building is influence.
Is it really great? is like
Somebody's saying we're doing great.
Yeah, just caught this.
Yeah. Glad you're here.
Absolutely.
I don't know who that person is.
Me neither,
It
'cause it
doesn't
won't
come up
tell
with the
us.
name, but we love you. There's a little thing you need to click on StreamYard that lets us know who you are.
Yeah.
Do share this if you're watching it
Yes.
on your walls, because this is one of the biggest reasons as a leader I tell people to share. So this is influence here. Ready?
Okay.
People go, Facebook's negative. People go, there's all the conversations about the V word and the C word. This used to be funny. You used to say V word and C word. You think about what this were when we were kids, but now it's, you know what those things mean.
Yep.
And the P word for politics. And so what we could do is we could put this on our walls and offer somebody a solution. So the reason people fall into the trap of looking at negative stuff is we're not offering them a better solution. So as leaders, we could train our team, let's help promote positive stuff out in the world so we're known as positive. So we need to change the Facebook wall. So 10 people sharing this is not going to make a big difference, but what if one person watches and they go home and treat their kid differently today? So back to your team. Did you get the answer? Did you get a answer?
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yeah, clearly.
Well, think about it. That would give you influence. They'd be like, wow, this guy cares. We did a whole thing in this room on our circle of influence the other day. This is crazy.
What's that?
It's our mastermind. It's mastering your mind. It's crazy. It's after core and all the other stuff. It's a high level event we have. And this is what's crazy what we did. I want to be really clear what we did. We did at the end, we learned how to actually show somebody you care by doing a Gestalt thing. So we actually took somebody, it could be your wife, it could be anybody, and we actually practiced and we understood the response, how we felt. And what was amazing, even though we weren't actually talking to that person, both people felt better. So we actually worked on learning. It's a skill you can get better at, showing people that you care and pointing out things you love about them. So like you might do something amazing. So when we're done, I could easily call you and say, Kevin, I got to tell you, I really appreciate how much you care about me and you were able to, take a few minutes, share our message with your people. And I really mean that. Like I truly mean, thank you. I think it all the time, but I'm so busy I forget to do it. What influential people is they actually say it.
Damn.
You getting where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
It's something we could be great at. Like literally, anytime I ask you like, hey, can we help some people out? You're like, I'm all in. It's a special quality you have. Like I tell you that, I don't feel worse telling you that. I may be insecure to want to say it up front, like we all are. But why wouldn't we influence ourselves to get better at that? I don't know anyone who goes, man, that guy's such a caring asshole, man. He cares so much. What a jerk that guy is. Can you believe how much he cares? So we all care a ton. We just may not choose to articulate it. It's something we can get better at.
It is.
You never even thought about that, did you?
No.
I never thought about it until last week.
So that came up in your mastermind.
43, almost 4 years of my life, I never thought that a human being, again, go back to that book, could choose to get better about caring. And because all the people we love the most care about people. Not pathetically care. They show genuinely their care, and they care.
That's true.
And I guarantee everybody would triple their bottom line if they actually could articulate correctly without looking like cheesy personal development-y person. And every once in a while, I really enjoyed our showings today. It was really great. I really like people that have a high level of standard for what they want. And instead of like, oh God, those people are so annoying. God, they looked at 80 houses. You could say, look, listen, I got to applaud you. You have a very high standard. And we're going to find you what you want because you deserve it. You guys, I do not come across a lot of people like this. What are they going to do? Drop you as an agent for making them feel great? Nobody says shit like that.
They're saying good things about them.
Nobody's doing this. I'm not talking about kissing ass. I'm talking about genuinely pointing out the obvious. Dude, these people have a ridiculously high standard. Because if you're bothered by them, they're doing something that you're not doing in your life that you wish you were. That's a whole nother topic.
That is another topic.
Yeah.
Dude, that's holy crap. That was really good.
What I just said?
Yeah.
Well, think about that. So if someone's like, God, they just can't make a decision, that either can you, that's why, and you're not helping them make one, or they're crying for, like I did a listening class the other day, and I said, when we listen to people, we should have a list. So I had this whole course on listening, because listening is a form of influence. I taught a whole course on listening. I'll make certain you get access to this. And I said, people are either crying for help, they're asking for to solve a problem, they just want to complain, they want to be rewarded, they want to be noticed. There's only like 8 things people want. So the only reason a human being speaks is about 8 things that they want. Where we're like, I'm just going to listen. And you give that face like, I'm going to listen because my mom said to listen.
Just going to keep listening.
Dude, but what are you listening for? And that's the thing. It's Dave in Albany. He's saying hello. So,
what's up, Dave?
So our interesting fact is that what we need to do is we need to realize that people are only saying about 8 things. I'm not going to get into that right now. We can cover that a whole nother time. But
Do you get into that at core?
At core, I get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, I get into that at core, because if you knew that, if you walked out of the core strength and you're like, got it, there's only 8 things people are after in their life. You can listen. I'm going to narrow down 4 of them are not it. All right. So I think what I'm doing is this person just wants to be validated right now. And instead of fighting with them, I'm going to give them their validation to be done.
So if I just have the list, if I know theoretically, like, hey,
theoretically,
like,
having the list is going to be as good as reading Body for Life, pulling the one book out and having the workout and still not doing it. Going to the event, you'll experience it all week and you'll see it 800 different ways. It becomes part of who you are.
But if I take it on as a tool and it becomes part of who I am, now I can use it, whether I'm talking about selling you a house for someone who has really high standards, or talking about helping this person just get more sales, recruiting this person to that, having a better relationship with my kids or my wife or family member, et cetera, so on and so forth.
Yes. Anybody. And that's the thing. And then it becomes who it is that you are. The problem is everybody wants sales skills and they only use them at work. I use them everywhere in my life. I use influence everywhere I go. I'm always influencing people to do things.
I mean, I know that you do because I watch you do it in real life.
But I'm not really doing anything. It's just I'm being me.
Yeah, it's super. It's who you are for sure.
It's built in.
But it's fun to watch, like because sometimes when if you and I are out somewhere, I'll say in public with people that you don't know, or I'll observe the way you're interacting with them.
And it's not your standard interaction.
No.
And then anytime you're using that's not standard interaction that people are not used to, what happens is they'll immediately like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like this is interesting. These guys are different.
Stands out.
And you stand out. When you stand out, that's a form of influence. You want to work as hard as you can to not be like everyone else.
So I'm gonna switch gears on you for just a moment. It's what's today? You and I talked about the date. It's the September 22nd, right?
Yep.
Okay. Fourth quarter is next week.
Yep.
So
that's crazy.
I know, right? And in my mind, the way I've always been programmed, fourth quarter is next week, which means 2022 starts next week. In my mind, business-wise, it starts next week.
Yep.
So I know a lot of people that I know and am friends with, have influence with, and influenced by in real estate, start thinking 2022. Like, I've got to get my butt in gear for 2022. What are some things I can do, maybe from an influence standpoint, or using some of the tools that you have or use to make sure I'm setting up for 2022?
Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to stop doing the year thing.
Get rid of the calendar?
Get rid of the calendar.
All right.
Have you heard of that before?
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so like first thing is we need to stop thinking we need to be on daily instead of on yearly, because as salespeople, we do the 31 days, 30 days commission checks.
Yes.
And we've created that for ourselves, and we burn ourselves on, we burn ourselves off. So first thing we do is kill the calendar. That's the first thing I'd recommend. What I recommend is I'd give yourself a runway right now to get involved with what's going on. So one of the ways that I do this is why we put core in October and November at the end of every year to go right into the holidays. We do it on purpose, and we do it in April. There's a reason we do it, because there is a natural thing. So if you ever go to a race, you ever done a 5K, 10K marathon?
Yeah, half marathon.
So you're gonna go to a half marathon. You're like, oh my god, I wonder if I can get through it. You have to, because people behind you. So right,
they'll
so
trample
like, you don't know, but you don't know it until you get there.
Yeah.
That you're gonna get pushed through it.
Yep.
So come Thanksgiving, people start hating their lives. So, and then like, what I mean by that is like, I'm going to change everything. I overeat all the way from Thanksgiving to Christmas, parties, drink, gain weight. And natural tendency is January, February, and March, and you can get a really high going into the new year. So there's a natural rush from November. The question is, how do you set yourself up in September, October to go into that rush so you get pushed harder like it's a wave? So if I told you the waves are going to be super high in November, how do you swim super well so you can let the waves push you and get your aerodynamics so strong that
even further
you wind up further? And part of that is, how do you set yourself up now? And what is it that you do? So like, we have core, we have an event. I'll mention that to everybody here in a bit. But I will tell you, it's really making a decision. The two things everyone needs to surrender right now is the advice my parents gave me as a kid: work hard and be a good person. Shittiest advice you could ever get in your life. I mean, it is absolutely the worst advice you could ever do, because you need to work hard at some level. You need to be a good person. I'd rather you be kind, but here's the deal. It's not about working hard. It's how do I get what I want? Not how do I work hard? How do I get what I want? Somebody has to do hard work. It doesn't have to be you.
Right.
Remember that. Because you're going to burn out if you're doing the hard work.
So
Influence gives you a team. Influence lets people help you. Influence actually allows you to
even if you're doing so. Hi, Jill, by the way. So Jill,
hey, Jill, by the way.
So Jill's amazing.
Is it Jill, by the way?
Jill she's amazing at doing hard work and influencing others to make her job easier and in her life easier. So I 100% see how that comes into play. Let me ask you this. You kind of referenced that you have a core coming up because it's
that means something to you and me. They don't know what that is.
So what is core?
2.5 days working on you and learning what makes you do what you do. So it's in Scottsdale. It's a live event with real people.
Hold on, in person,
like
you and I are right now,
in real person. Just so everyone's not scared. It's a 20,000 square foot room. I think we'll be okay. It's a small group environment, big room, 35-foot ceilings. Let's get that shit out of the way up front, right? The next thing is
so it's not all on Zoom.
No, there's no Zoom at all. We're not even allowing it. And Fred's been to it. Fred and his wife, they've both been to the event. Hundreds of your agents over the years have been to the event. It's 2.5 days of what makes you do what you do, what makes others do what you do, so you can understand the psychology of what makes people make a decision. If you cannot sell at least 2 to 3 more houses after you're done, like I have a title company that's sending a bunch of people there because they're like, dude, if I could just get them, like, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
If learning what makes you and other people do what they do is not interesting to you, get the hell out of business. Okay. So you're going to learn what stops people, what starts people, what turns people on, what makes people work, the psychology. You're going to learn. I have a little thing called I've been studying neurolinguistic programming for years. I'm one of the best in the world at how to create an anchor.
I actually tell people you are the best.
I am the best. How to create an anchor on your body where instantly you push it. It's like you go into superhero mode. So I could have the worst day. Like we've had the worst advice, like we're dropping Deborah's mom off before she passed away for her last 7 days of her life at the hospital as I'm walking to in a 200-person event. Okay. It doesn't get harder than that. Deborah's like, I'll meet you later. I had to use every tool under the sun. And I was a pro. I went on, nobody knew the difference. And then we're back at the hospital that night. You know how late the events go. So I'm like, we're doing our thing. And I had to literally, use a tool. So back when people could go to events when they weren't feeling well, I had 104 one time in front of the lights in Michigan, in Traverse City. And I threw 500 people in the room and I got to be on. Okay. I get the flu or something, right? Back like 8 years ago. And I had to use the same technique to be on, do my thing, kick ass. And the guy said, you outsold Grant Cardone, who was here last week, which was badass. And I did it with 104. And I'm telling you that because that's a boop. And I haze Grant about that. Do you know what I'm saying? But the point is it's using a thing. And also I teach about 10 hours of influence training. So it is 2.5 days of getting you where it is you need to be in your life. But people got it. The hardest part is we got this like Corona fatigue thing where people don't want to leave the house. And I don't mean the Corona. It's like, I'll do it next year. I'll do it next week. I'll put off the money. I'll put off the time. I'll put off the thing. People need to go, you know what? I need to do this shit now.
Yeah.
You know what I learned last year in March? There's a lot of things I didn't do, trips and things I can't do now that are impossible now, that if I would have actually done them prior, but I put them off. I didn't put them off in a negative way, like a weak way. I'm like, I'll do it in April or May.
Yeah.
Once that came around. So if you've got space and ability and you're watching this and you have the ability to get in a car, get in a plane and come, I'd love you to be there.
So it's in Scottsdale?
It's in Scottsdale. It's the 7th, 8th, and 9th, half a day on the 7th, all day the 8th and 9th. Don't plan on doing anything else while you're there. But I will tell you, we've got some people that can't come because they're Canadian, Australian. Like they literally cannot.
They literally can't leave their country.
Come. And I'm not going to ask somebody to do a 14-day quarantine or get vaccinated to come to my event.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. I will not do that. So they just illegally, that is not allowed. So we've got a little extra space open. A lot of them are like, can I give my ticket away? What can I do? They paid half. So what I decided to do, and this is what last week or so is, and this is something for you, I'm not offering this to the general public, is I got with a couple of friends and I have a website. I can type it in here in a couple seconds, but it's michaelbernoff.com/core live. I think I can pop it up there. I don't know.
If not, I can put it in the
comments.
Put it
in the comments
very soon.
And this is, I don't know. I don't got a banner for it now. Let me see if this works. Does that work? Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, but anyways, what I did, I'll type it in a minute. But if you use the code ACTION, it's a $2,000 ticket.
Okay.
I decided
the code is ACTION.
Yeah, but the code is ACTION. But what I decided to do is we offer it to the general public for $9.95, half price right now because it's 2 weeks out. But for you guys, for your community, I figured I'll knock that in half and I'll do it for $4.95. What? So there are people that are watching this right now that bought it for clear,
you charged me more than that for the phone class a couple years ago.
Yeah, you paid
that's fair.
$1,000. But here's the thing. It's just what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And it's what we're dealing with. So if anyone's interested, it's $495. It's going to cost me more of that in food and a freaking workbook and everything for everybody for the
Trust
weekend.
me, I know that.
It is not it's me the whole time. It's not a pitch fest. It's literally to work on yourself. I cried in 2000 when I had to call the hotel in October of last year, and I said I have to cancel my first ever core in 15 years that I have to cancel. I like had tears. Like I felt like I was going to miss my kid's wedding, bar mitzvah, something. I was like, I didn't tell you this. Like I was choked up, and so was the lady at the hotel. She was choked up too, and I'm like, we gotta cancel the event. And it was so heartbreaking. And I did the virtual one. It was cute, but it was not the
It's
live.
not the same.
It's not the same. So we're live. There'll be a few hundred people. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And it's a great place to grow. So I'll type in what the link is. Here's the deal. Get to Scottsdale, come to the event. If you're here watching this right now, like something drove you to be here, you can give me a real high five, a hug afterwards. I hug people. I still hug.
You do.
And you fake like a fake air high five afterwards. You will thank me after 2.5 days after you say, holy shit, that was the strongest, craziest thing I've ever done in my life. So I'll type it in here for these guys.
I love that. And I'll just say, as someone who's been through multiple courses that you've done, heard you speak, I don't know how many times, and been able to just hang out with you and chat.
And I've never offered anything
multiple times. No, you have not. Actually,
it's not my style.
Yeah, not especially not for 2.5 days. No. I mean, dude, for 2.5 days to sit with any subject matter expert, for $495 kind of blows me away. First of all, So I'll say that, guys, take him up on his offer. I know you're typing in the website.
You got to use the promo code ACTION. It's a lowercase a, and the reason I'm telling you got to use lowercase a, it will not work with capital. And does that say promo over there? It's promo.
There you go.
Promo. There you go. I believe that works. And it should say Core Live. Michael, oh, someone else already did it. Kevin and Fred already put it in. Look,
that was me. That's because we're signed in.
Oh, we're signed in together.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a lowercase a, and the reason we joked around about it is you can come in as a lowercase action taker. You're going to come out an uppercase action taker.
Ooh, I like
so
that.
No, we seriously thought about that today. We make it uppercase or lowercase. You're lowercase right now. It's okay. You're lowercase right now. You're going to come out uppercase.
Shit.
I mean, you think about it. Just own that shit.
Dude, like, that's so good.
The greatest thing. I had a sales guy. I go, are you good at sales? The guy goes, I'm the best. I said, okay, compared to Bobby Axelrod and Billions, how are you at sales? I'm not that good. So what benefit do you have acting like you're the best if you're not? So I'm lowercase a, I'll come out uppercase a. If you make $100,000 a year, you're not that great at sales. You're good. It's cute. You're okay. You make $500,000 a year. You're good. You're good. You make $1 million. You're okay. You're good. You make 15 million. You're fantastic.
Yeah.
You're amazing. It's extraordinary. We should lower our bar sometimes to increase our ability to grow. And that's one of the things I have you walk into the event. Ooh. Don't walk in as a know-it-all. Walk in as a do-it-all. Like I'm going to do what you show me. That sounded really good.
Dude, that was actually really good. I'm glad we're recording this.
I know
sometimes you say shit and we're not recording, and I'm like, what are we doing?
I don't even know what we said. So $495, use the code. It's normally $2,000. It's $995. It's $490. It's $500. Just do it.
It's literally the easiest and best $495 you'll spend all year, guaranteed.
And if you got a plane ticket that's $500 and a couple days at a hotel, if you can't turn what I teach, you guys do sell houses. If you can't turn if they can't make 50,000 on this, don't show up.
Then we can't talk.
Don't show up. Just don't come. It's not for you. It's not the right kind of event. But I'm going to rewire your nervous system. You're going to give me 2.5 days of this thing.
I'm gonna start using that lowercase a.
You like that?
Yeah.
Dude, that's all you deserve.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that was good. Should we? I mean, anything else? I feel like that was like the tree topper right there.
The tree topper. Share this with anybody you care about. It's not just business people.
Yeah.
Teenagers, if they're over 16, they can come to the event, which is great. We have a teen group, which is awesome. Super helpful. My little one, we started that one when Tara was had some challenges as a kid. She was doing girl stuff. So we let the young kids come. First it was 14, now we moved it to 16 because we didn't want to be babysitters.
Yeah.
But dude, we have conversations with your kids that you can't have with your kids about stuff. And they look at these adults and they're like, holy moly, that guy screwed up his life. I'm not going to be like him. It is like the greatest thing you can do for your children. It's amazing. Any other thoughts or questions? You guys enjoying this out there?
Dude, I know. I have a request.
Yeah. What's
I have a request. Everybody go to michaelbernoff.com/core live and just sign up. And if you want to not pay full price, I like not paying full price.
Yeah.
Use the promo code ACTION. Lowercase
a.
Come out in uppercase.
Any of you that go to that website today, because only if you have the action, I'm going to send you a copy of my book, Average Sucks. You can read it prior. I will send you a copy of this. It's just any of you that go to the site, I will know. We're just going to mail you a book right away. But And if you are an agent, you like to recruit people, there's going to be hundreds of other business owners in that room, and you are going to make new friends. So I always tell everybody when you go to an event,
It's not spoon fed.
yeah, this is what's crazy, right? These are the three big takeaways. Number one is if you go to an event, even if you put your earplugs in, eye mask on, and avoid me the whole time. Like I'm going to avoid everything he says. The fact that you left your office changes your biochemistry and changes your chemistry inside of your 100%. Brain. So you're going to think differently. It's why when you go on vacation, you start thinking bigger. It's weird. You're away from your office and you think bigger. Anytime you leave your environment, your brain expands and you come up with new ideas. Number two, you will meet at least one incredible person that will be a teammate in your life that is going to help you with something. Number three, at the event, you are going to experience a bigger version of you. So you've got a chance to, like no different than we had in high school when we were kids, like going to a new school. You could be anybody you want when you're there. So you might as well be who you're capable of being and then bring that person home. Those are just three extra benefits outside of the greatest material you've ever seen in your life. And I can guarantee you've never been to an event this great in your life. Period. I'm pretty confident.
We could do the mic. Like if I had a
mic drop,
and I'm not going to mic. I won't drop your stuff.
Don't drop it.
Somebody
I don't even have one. I feel weird. Like I have one here.
Somebody dropped your microphone once and broke it, and I would never do that.
You don't do that.
That's just rude.
Fred. It wasn't Fred.
No, it wasn't Fred. But that's really funny. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. We're going to wrap up for today. I cannot stress this enough. If you got anything, and I know you did, share this.
Yep, share the page.
And maybe invest 2.5 days in yourself.
Yep. That's it. The money's nothing. There's Fred right there. Fred did not drop the mic. Sorry, Fred. I didn't mean to say it. Let's take this thing apart and share it. I will tell all of you, when you do share it, really, some of you maybe didn't hear me say this earlier. The world has some negative stuff going on right now. It always does. By sharing this on your wall, you just don't know who's going to, it's going to impact. So somebody watches it, they're bored, they're a plumber, they're at night, they're like, hey, I thought about getting into real estate. And they're like, who is this Jill girl, right? Jill's in real estate?
Yeah.
Who's this Jill girl that promoted this on my wall? You know what? I've been wanting to get into real estate. Let me see what you got. Let's just say even you're showing or a listing agent, right? Post it on your wall. It's positive. This is not we didn't talk about just scripts in business. This is not an old school real estate Tom Hopkins thing. You know what I'm saying? Not to knock Tom, but that shit's outdated, right?
Yeah.
This is a human experience. So anyways, I got to run. I got to hit my daughter's figure skating right now. You got to use your words, Greg. You don't hit your daughter. You don't hit the figure skating. But I'm going to attend at the rink.
I think only Tanya Hardy.
Tanya Hardy. That's where
hits figure skaters.
Was it Tanya the hitter?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was her goon.
You want to talk about influence. Last thing I'll tell you. So my daughter, when she went to go figure skate, she's about to go out. And I said, Maya, go win. But Maya's never won before. So I stopped her. I said, wait a second. Don't go win. Go show off. So she's never won. She knows how to show off. So go show off what you've learned. And as she went and showed off what she learned, she came in first place. Now I can say go win. So when she went the other day in Pasadena, when I was at my event, unfortunately I had to miss it. And I said, Maya, go win. She knew because she's done it before. Knew. But before she won, she couldn't win. You can't tell a human being to sell that's never sold. Go share. Go talk about. Go promote. They know how to promote. They don't know how to sell. They've never sold. Ask them to promote. Then they can sell.
I think you just got a taste of what 2.5 days is.
2.5 days. All right. Later, guys.
We'll see you guys
Appreciate
next time. Thank you.
See ya. Take care.
I'm going to let you end the broadcast.
I'm going to end the broadcast. Bye. You want to wait?